Alright, hi guys, this is Jackie from techjackie.com. Welcome to another video on SEO. First of all, if you're brand new to this channel, make sure you press the subscribe button below so when I release a new SEO video like this, you'll get notified. In today's video, we'll dive deep into the Google Helpful Content Update, how you could potentially rank your website or even win from this update and prevent it from getting hit, as well as we'll do a little bit of exploration into Google's own official documents on this update and the machine learning approach and how this actually could work, right, based on my understanding, based on how I understand search engines and machine learning and stuff. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So around August 18 or maybe around 19, Google announced on their official Twitter account that they're going to release this Google Helpful Content Update to essentially target websites that produce unhelpful or these kind of unhelpful stuff content, right? And many of the SEOs actually call like one of the biggest changes since the Panda update back in, I think, around 2011, something like that. So um, as of right now, the update is not yet rolled out, which I assume it should be very soon, probably in just maybe today or maybe in a day or two. And this is the official Google official documentation that they released. That what creators like webmasters should know when it comes to this new update, right? So in a nutshell, this update is mostly going to be content side update. Means they're going to look at the way the content the content is on your website, but there are also other aspects that is quite interesting into in what Google is looking for as well. So we'll look into this a little bit more detail. So essentially, to sum it up, this update aims to better reward content where visitors feel they have had satisfying experience. Means if your content actually answers their questions, or if their content matches the intent of what they're looking for, and the content actually meets visitors expectations, then you win, right? Or that content will get rewarded. And then here are some of the questions that you should be asking yourself, like things like do you have existing or intended audience for your business or site that would find content useful if they come directly to you, all these stuff, right? Some of the important key areas from this part here is, does your site have a primary purpose or focus? So this is now telling you that, is your site overall relevant to a particular topic? So we're talking about topical relevance or topical authority here. Like if your entire website is mainly focused on one particular topic, or is it just have no purpose, like you're creating a bunch of content around different topics, right? So one key area from this point here is topical relevance will become more important. The idea of having multiple topics on your website is isn't going to work well anymore from now moving forward, right? Especially with this update. Actually, that approach has never been working for quite some time now, but this update, clearly Google is communicating directly to you that their primary focus is going to be sites that focus on one topic, right? And another key point here is, after reading your content, will someone leave feeling they've learned enough about topic to help achieve their goals, right? Or something like, will someone reading your content leave feeling like they've had satisfying experience? So this again, making sure that your content satisfy user intent, answers the questions that people are looking for, and making them feel like they have satisfied once they land on the page without the need to actually go back to Google and actually do a search, right? So this again, this another key area where this update will be focusing on. One part will be the content side, where Google will look at your website and see if your content is helpful enough by looking at the topics on the website and how you write the content, if your content provide additional insights to the topic. And the second part here is, they want to measure if people are satisfied or not with the experience by looking at if people actually go back to the search results, do the search again, and click on other results, right? So this, we call it like pogo sticking, or long clicks, short clicks. means people land on your website, they do a search for a keyword, they click on your website, they land on it, they read, but for some reason they go back and they click on another result. So this, we are no we've been speculating. There are many case studies on this, and people have been telling this forever, that Google looks at user signals and things like that. This update really nails on that part, right? So here's a more detail into the guidelines, right, of the what we should be looking for as a webmasters. Okay, so things here Google says here is avoid creating content for search engines first. Means you want to create content that isn't it has to still be optimized, no doubt, because we have to remember that Google is an algorithms. It looks for certain patterns of word usage and everything on the page, but then we have to look beyond just the set of words, right? So this means if you're using SEO tools such as SEO Surfer or Phrase, whatever it is, what you're essentially doing here is just reversing engineering the competitors, right? Essentially means looking at whatever they have written, whatever words they have used on their page, and you're just basically using the same set of words, same set of topics again on your page. Now that approach, has been working really well over the past few years, but now this update seems to be targeting that to some extent as well, right? So you just cannot write whatever people are writing already on the page, right, and just reproducing the same content. You need to add additional insights, additional topics, right, to your content. And another key area here is, are you producing lots of content on different topics in hopes that some of it might perform well in search results? Again, this one, look, pertaining back to the topical relevant stuff. Are you using extensive automations to produce content on many topics? Now, notice the word automation here, extensive automation. So this clearly they're targeting AI content here as well, right? So another key point here is they're targeting AI content. Although they didn't mention it explicitly, but extensive automation means you can definitely use AI content, but if you're using it, without adding additional value to the content, then definitely your this update is after this type of content, right? Again, saying adding much value. What do you mean by adding much value here? Adding much value means adding something, adding subtopics, adding additional insight, something that's a little more than your competitors, right? So not just looking at words or things that they say by reversing engineering them, but giving your own set of answers to the questions, right, to the queries, to the keyword is also very important here, right? And again, does your content leave readers feeling like they need to search again better information from other sources? This again, pertaining to the pogo sticking, means they land on your page, for some reason they're not satisfied, they go back, they click on other results, and they land on another page, right? So as of right now, it's very clear that number one, the update is about two things. Number one is content. Number two here is user signals or satisfaction, right? Okay, so, and when it comes to content and what update, this update targets, number one is generic SEO content. Number two here is extensive AI content. Number three here is non-topical relevant websites, right? So things such as those big big authority sites where they simply try to rank for everything. Basically, we call like parasite SEO, where you pogo using piggybacking the authority of the bigger websites to rank for whatever keyword you want to rank for. So those type of stuff, right? So generic SEO content, extensive ad content, non-topical relevant websites, right? And so generic SEO content, using SEO tools, rewriting, regurgitating information, where detailing information, etc., right? So not adding additional set of topics to your website. All right. So and the remaining stuff is, again, are you writing into niche topic where without any real expertise, right? And so this again, tying back to EAT. So Google is getting better and better at understanding the expertise of the author. So essentially, having an author who is a real who has a great reputations online about certain topics is very important. Now you can't just write on anything, or if you're writing about something and you don't have real expert enough in a topic, you will not know the set of words or the set of additional insight that only experts know, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at how the update works, right? So how this update actually works on an overview, right? So one thing they mentioned here is um, so they say that it is a new site-wide signals, right? And among many other signals for ranking pages. So now we know that this update, what we know, right? So number one is a site-wide update, and they clearly mention that they identify content that seems to have little value and low added value, otherwise not particularly helpful for those doing searches. So it's not the update that actually basically it seems to do both, right? Rewards and also penalize or suppress the website that are not adding additional value or unhelpful content. And this works on a site wide. And how does it do that? It uses the classifier, right, which is an automated signals. Now, a small thing to keep in mind is classifier. Classifier is one of the most popular approach in machine learning. Essentially means actually how it works here is first you have to have a set of data to feed it to the system, so the system can learn what are what are the things that it should be looking for, right? So in this case, Google would have a set of documents or web pages that they from their quality raters provided to provided to Google by the quality raters, and they'll feed it to the system. And before that, they also invent a new some type of signals to kind of match that system. They feed it to the system and the machine learning learns it. Now machine learnings go out into the Google search, and then look at patterns, right, that identify as being content that are unhelpful, classify those, and then if it sees that websites mostly have unhelpful content, it then classify that website as being a low value website, right? Hence it suppresses the entire website. So this means that the signal is weighted, means if the sites with lots of helpful content, then if it means that if the majority of the content on your website has unhelpful type of this content, then you get hit by this update. But one thing to also keep in mind here is our where this says our classifier for this update runs continuously, allowing it to monitor newly launched sites and existing ones. As it determines that unhelpful content has not returned in long term, the classification will no longer apply. So it seems like this update is more like a suppressor, means it goes out, it tries to search for unhelpful sites with a lot of unhelpful content, and then it suppresses it. Now what happened here is this classifier runs continuously, means if the website that got hit suddenly go into their website, make a lot of changes, remove a lot of unhelpful content, then over time, if the system do not detect any unhelpful content, or if it's good enough now, then the suppression will no longer apply, and the website will be out of the penalty or the suppression. So what we know here is the classifier runs continuously, which means if you got hit by the update, you can make changes and see recovery pretty quickly compared to core updates, right? So comparing to the core updates, where let's say you got hit by the update, your website, disappear from the server, whatever, you have to wait until the next core update to come in, then you see results. Let's say, if you fix the problem. But for this update, the classifier runs continuously means if you got hit by this update, you make the changes, you start seeing results pretty quickly, right? Maybe it'll still take some times, but it's still much faster compared to other like core updates, right? So this can be a good and a bad thing, right? Good thing is, of course, you can quickly see recovery, but the bad thing here is, now we have this new update coming up, which we have to really keep in mind, right? And remember, classifier works on the set of, data. So to some extent, like over past few years, people have been flooding Google with, AI content and everything. So, I'm pretty sure Google already have enough data of all these much AI content and, all these low quality type content. And that's why, they're very confident in this update, and that's why they decide to release it now, because they've already had enough data to feed to the machine, right? So potentially, yeah. So this is pretty much like what you have to know. Update is about content and user signals, right? So all right. So now, what is the game plan, right? Like how to rank or game plan for this update. Number one, right? You can still use SEO tools to optimize, but need to add additional topics, insights to your content. So you can still use the old SEO tools. I'm pretty sure they're still very useful, but you're now it's compulsory that you need to add some unique value to your content, some additional subtopics or things like that in order to make it more helpful. Number two, double down on topical authority, right? Again, topical authority has become one of the biggest things right now, and with this updates really, um, give importance to this concept. Number three, look at your UX, user signals, right? So user signals have been, a thing that many people have been getting, seeing lots of success with. But now with this update, you need to definitely look at your UX now. So remember, it's not just about your content, right? Like if your website has, very bad design, it is not user friendly, even if your content is really helpful, if the user still land on your website and still find it annoying to use your website, they'll still click back, and Google will still think that your content is not helpful, right? Even though you have lots of good helpful content. So you need to look at not just your content, but your UX, your entire user experience, your user signals, things like bounce rate, time on site, all these stuff. It is time to really look into analytics and look into how your website performs overall, right? Now the summary of this update here is really not that different from any other updates that we have seen so far, because Google's goal, or their what they're aiming to do is to always reward helpful content, right? But this update, to be honest, it's just gonna be pretty much similar to other type of updates that we had in the past. But now, with more data that Google has when it comes to what is not helpful, what is helpful, what is pure AI, what is real content for the users, they're now be able to detect this better and much better compared to the past, right? So all right, so one more thing regarding AI content I would add here is you can still use AI content, but need manual edits, add value, right? So in the past, you might still be able to get away with pure AI, 100% AI content, but I feel like right after this update, you can't really use them anymore. Or even if you can, over time, these updates will get better and better at detecting that. And pretty soon, they will not be able to use any more of pure AI content. So you can still use AI content, but you need to have some manual edits. You need to add some additional insights into your content, right? And add value. Remember to add value, add extra bits of stuff that your competitors are not adding. So in a nutshell, this update still feels like any other update, but the thing here is Google just got better at recognizing, all these unhelpful stuff, right? So yeah, that's all for it. So there's really no reason to be scared of if you're already doing all the good stuff when it comes to SEO. If you're already producing great value content, if you already have great user experience, then you don't really have to be worried much about this update, right? So yeah, that's all for it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below and try to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.